This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
New Rock 99X, Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy, the Morning X. Please welcome Martin Short.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone can sit down now. Martin, hello.
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing
Excellent.
good.
Your character in Father of the Bride, I mean, hands down, one of the funniest characters I've ever seen in a movie. Now, when it came to the sequel, the sequel to me of the movie was excellent. Were you a little apprehensive about doing a sequel?
Yeah, I was, only because, not because I think there's anything wrong with doing a sequel. Actually, a sequel is the most fun because everyone knows each other. But you do worry that if it's not any good, it's going to tarnish the perception of the first one. But they had just a good idea for it.
Well, also, you as a comedian understand the concept of too much of a good thing.
Right,
and
the
always,
magic of that character climaxed in the first one.
And always leaving them wanting more.
Right.
And you kind of have to ride that line, especially with Franck.
Well, interesting enough, in the studio had pressured everyone to, including myself, to be in the second one more. But I think everyone smarter had prevailed, and we took scenes out because, again, it's like everyone loves garlic, but nobody a garlic burger.
Yeah, that's kind of classic studio thinking. They always think that more is better.
Yeah, well, they don't really know.
Right.
Listen, I remember when when I first did the first scene of Franck. A lot of that was improvised.
I believe that.
And I got a call from this guy David Hoberman, who was the head of Disney at the time. And he said, well, I saw the dailies, and boy, you seem to be having a lot of fun. And you could tell he was terrified hearing his voice. He said, just sometimes you say yeah, and sometimes you say yes. And I said, no, I know. and I said, David, it's going to be fun, I sort of. And but you could tell, he didn't know what it was.
Thank you, dear assistant. This is fun. So this is a very popular character with many of the fashionable wordings, And this I just don't do anymore. And this is fabulous.
Oh, that is incredible. Annie, that's just like the one we saw in the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like it, Dad?
Well, what is that? Is that dollars? $1,200?
Believe me, Master Banks, this is a very reasonable price for a cake of this magnitude.
A cake, Franck, is made of flour and water. My first car didn't cost $1,200.
Welcome to the 90s, Mr. Banks.
Martin, when this whole thing fell in your lap to do this talk show, what did you think that you could do better than the other 500 talk shows that are out there that would make your show float and stand out?
Oh, I didn't really think of it in terms of doing anything better. I think that the idea is, I guess you could say to an actor, why be an actor when there's all these other actors out there?
Right, there's so many talk shows.
Yeah, but there's also so many movies, and there's so many Broadway shows, and there's so many sitcoms.
Right, and the better ones that stand up move on.
The reality is that these shows become signatures, or they should, of your comedic or performance sensibility, and either people will like it or they won't, and in which case you'll be on either 20 years or an hour.
Were you apprehensive at all about doing that? Thinking that of all the ones that have come out, so many of them fail.
No, I wasn't apprehensive about that.
No?
Because, I look at most movies fail. So that means you couldn't do a movie. Or most
True, you're just in the spotlight daily.
But you're always in the spotlight, ultimately. I think that what was more daunting was the idea of having to do... In my mind, I knew that it would have sketches in it, and there would be opening numbers, and this idea of doing a mini Saturday Night Live every day seemed more daunting. The idea of working that hard.
I really enjoy the show, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. We wanted you on because we think the show is good. But it almost seems like that show is clearly like on the level of any of the primetime or late night talk shows. The production quality, the sketches. Was there talk of you going directly after Jay and David and those guys at first?
Well, the reality is that because it's a syndicated show, there was no potential of that because you'd have to go on after them in every individual market.
I see, right.
You know, in syndication, you make individual sales as opposed to one blanket sale.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, look, when I was a kid, Merv Griffin was on. He was on like at 4 p.m. We got it from Buffalo, you know, in the afternoon. And I do think that the downside of daytime television, shows that are on daytime, is there's a tendency to talk down to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather, you know, I don't even, you know, you don't want to talk down to your audience. I have my sister-in-law, a friend of hers who is like, you know, homemaker, 4 kids, stays home, can't stay up late. And she wrote me this letter that said, I love your show, and it's on at 9 a.m., where she is because she doesn't feel like anyone is condescending to her in the morning. But I think that basically, I don't know, you were happy to see Seinfeld at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
Reruns.
Yeah. I see your point.
Did you know Andy Kaufman? Had you ever met him?
Yeah, I did. My first job in Los Angeles was on a series called The Associates, which is 1979, and it was written and produced by Jim Brooks,
he's
director,
a genius.
and he was doing 2 series at the same time. One was Taxi, and one was The Associates, and we were under one stage, just a wall separating us. And in fact, Andy and I had the same stand-in. Mike Binder, the director.
Oh, sure. He's and he was an old comedian, Mike Binder.
That's right. And then he was a young comedian. And so Andy would come over to the set, and he was very pleasant, very shy, very. I mean, you just knew that he was this genius guy.
You know,
but it was interesting. I mean, I must admit, I worked with a lot of brilliant people though who did characters. So I used to look at Andy, you know. When he would be thrown off the studio lot in character. I mean, I used to think it was interesting. I wasn't as overwhelmed by it as some, only because I thought, well, you know, Andy's a genius, but so is Catherine O'Hara.
Right.
And she like can go from Lola Heatherton right out to, hi, honey, you know, what are you going to have for lunch? So.
Well, you know,
it's kind of his gimmick.
They're trying to, I think, sell this as there's a possibility he's still alive.
Do you really think?
I mean, that's the...
No.
There's even a shadow of a doubt that he faked his death?
I mean, you know what? Is there a shadow of a doubt? I'd say, sure, there's a shadow.
He's out there with Elvis somewhere.
I don't know. I mean, Martin?
No, I think Andy got sick and died.
that's
End of story.
That's
no, I mean, Bob DeMuda said, you know... said he was on our show, and he said it was amazing that he was when Andy was right near the end, and he was pushing Andy through an airport, and Andy, you know, weighed 95 pounds, and was so sick, and he would come up and say, "We know what you're doing."
Yeah, well, they talk about that in the movie. It's the boy who cried wolf, because everything was such a scam with him. When he sat his friends down and said he had cancer, they were all like, "Come on, you know, that's not even funny."
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's wildly interesting to think that of all the people that could have had this early tragedy, Andy Kaufman, who did play the limits and put people on, and you never knew what he was, what was an act and whether he was crazy or whether he was just this great actor. I mean, it was always interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I understand where that would start.
Yeah.
More of this interview you don't want to miss is back in minutes on the best of the morning X 99X.
It's part sports.
We have football on the brain.
Part pop culture.
Dennis Leary. True or false? You refuse to wear a glove with Mickey Mantle's signature on it for the movie The Sandlot.
The Red Sox blood, the Bruins blood, they run deep.
And in the best celebrity interviews.
Robert De Niro here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, sir?
Just got over a 24-hour virus.
The antidote is to appear on The Rich Eisen Show.
There you go. I would have just done it earlier.
And you've got The Rich Eisen Show podcast.
There is a medicinal quality to appearing on this program.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.